Remember the old Tom Hanks movie, Forrest Gump? Well, in that film, the main character actually buys a shrimping boat in Bayou Louisiana. Now, he keeps trying and failing to catch a single shrimp and is about to go out of business when a hurricane destroys every shrimping boat in that pier. In fact, every shrimping boat in Bayou Louisiana. Now, his boat, Jenny, was at sea at the time of the hurricane and actually survives the storm. Now, all the others are smashed against the shore, the entire industry is absolutely wrecked, and he's the only boat left standing. Basically, he catches a ton of shrimp because he has no competition and ends up buying a fleet of 12 boats, creating the Bubba Gump Shrimping Company and becoming a massive millionaire. Now, why is this story relevant? Well, let me explain. First of all, let me just say hello. My name is Tom Nash. If this is your first time here, welcome. I used to be a senior financial analyst and I'm a current Palantir investor. Now in this video, I will break down some very interesting news about Palantir that you probably want to hear. It will be objective, it will be harsh, but I will keep it 100. So if you're looking for some sort of Palantir ass kissing, this isn't the right place. So Dan Ives from Wedbush Securities, one of the better analysts out there, just said that Palantir, as well as other companies, will see a boost from federal cybersecurity spending. So let's talk about it, let's put it through the ringer, and let's decide if it's shit or legit, right? So he gave no update about the target price, but he did say a few important things that you want to hear. Now on Friday, Dan Ives put out a note to clients and said, Palantir and other software companies are likely to see benefit from increased spending by the US government on cybersecurity. Now, in his note to clients, he actually focused on bad actor nations, but we all understand he's obviously talking about Russia. Now, the idea is that the current state of affairs will include significant cyber warfare and massive federal spending, which would allow companies like Palantir to grab significant market share. Now, what are my quick thoughts about this in 2 minutes? Now, first of all, I have some mixed feelings about this. And you know, I'm a huge Palantir bull, so everything I say here, it has to be taken within that context. Also, I mean, we can't ignore the fact that most folks actually loaded up on this stock in the 20s, $20, $25 range, and they've been burnt. And I was one of the few saying how much I like this stock at that price. And, you know, since the stock price slashed and slammed to $8, the excuses are relevant. For anyone with a short or medium-term investment horizon, this so far has been a fail. And even for me, as a long-term investor, so far, this has not been a good performer in my portfolio. And this has to be said before anything else. Now, as far as this latest note, I have mixed feelings about it. Now, I personally hate the idea of a world that is absolutely full of conflict, full of violence, and I hate the idea of profiting from it. That's not what I'm about. I'm not interested in seeing innocent poor villagers and poor young men die for nothing, while fat, rich-ass pieces of garbage generals are playing a chess match over a board drinking champagne. I never invested in Palantir for the government business. Since, you know, I don't see it as a growth engine for the company anyways. Besides the point, I don't even know what they do in the government side of things. I don't fully understand it. Nobody does. It's a black box. I invested for the commercial side of things, which I saw and still see as the real growth engine for the company. I like the tech. I like the solution that Foundry offers. I think it's a game changer. Now, having said that, I think we can all see that the world isn't the same that it was in 2019. And at this point, the pandemic seems like the least of our problems. Let's put it this way. Russia has opened up a can of worms, pretty much gateway to hell. I mean, we're going to get wrecked. We can't defend ourselves by sitting around the campfire and saying kumbaya. I mean, bullies don't stop until you punch them in the gooch. Look it up where the gooch is. That's just a fact of life. Now, spending money on tanks instead of schools and hospitals is absolutely heartbreaking. But this is the world we live in right now, and we can't bury our head in the sand and pretend like it's not happening. I mean, we need to do what's necessary to protect ourselves, our way of life. Otherwise, we're going to get destroyed. Now, this reality is very simple. Many billions of dollars in new government contracts are coming down the pipeline, and many billions more will be spent on increasing existing contracts. For a highly trusted and valued government contractor like Palantir, this means more revenue, better margins, and a way to ride out the recession that is inevitably coming. That's just the reality. And if anything, I'd rather let Palantir do it than anyone else. Now, here's what's going to happen in the next 2 years. Let me be very blunt here. Interest rates will keep going up. It's going to be a huge cash vacuum for companies with massive debt. And you have to remember, 100 out of 100 companies in the US haven't really paid to borrow money for like a decade. This is going to be very, very painful. And when rates go up, it's going to hurt. Now, something has to give when that happens. And a lot of companies will struggle. A lot of companies will go belly up. Now, if in that scenario, Palantir, who is already debt-free and is sitting on a pile of cash, billions in cash and gold, creates a new income stream to compensate for losses that it has in the commercial side because of the recession, it will be one of the best companies to survive the storm. Now, remember the story I just told you in the beginning about the shrimping boat and Forrest Gump? You understand why now? I think it's a nice story, and I think it's a great movie. But I do think there's a lesson to be learned here. Now, it seems that a storm is coming. It's going to hurt a lot of companies, especially ones with a lot of debt, especially ones that rely on the strength of the economy to survive. And here you have a company that has literally zero debt, whose 50% of its existence is coming from defense, and who has massive piles of cash. I think it's safe to say that those circumstances alone make Palantir one of the better positioned companies out there right now, especially if a recession is coming, which I think is absolutely inevitable. So if indeed Palantir keeps on growing their government sector, while other companies are slowing down because of the recession, what do you think will happen? It will be ahead of everyone else when we actually get out of this and we go into the next bull cycle. They're going to be that one shrimping boat that survived. Well, of course, there's going to be more boats. This isn't exactly the same story, but you get the idea. Now look, to be honest, the haters and the bears, they're going to continue to say that this stock is garbage. This development isn't going to change their minds, and it shouldn't. I totally get it. I understand it. But for the retail investors, for the long-term retail investors, for the patient investors, we see something in the stock. Palantir keeps on getting new contracts. It keeps on expanding existing contracts. And it has the government side to back up any weakness in the market. Their lack of debt and their massive cash position make it into a company that can flourish, not just survive in hard times. And I think hard times are coming. So I like the stock. And at this point, some of you may ask, well, Tom, why should we listen to you? You're just a YouTuber. And you know what? You're right. Why listen to me? Listen to Alex Karp, the founder and CEO of the company. Judge for yourself. Just a week ago, he did a whole interview on CNBC, which I think was his best so far, and I've been very critical of Alex. The whole interview with my analysis and my breakdown is going to be right here. Go check it out right now. If you haven't yet, right here, you can subscribe to the channel. If you've lasted this long and you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Come on, subscribe so you can get notified and help me with the algorithm. See you in the next video.